First, the top news headlines. 24-hour shutdown in protest against escalating Kuki militant attacks, abduction of 6 and ongoing violence crippled Manipur, disrupting daily life across valley districts including Jiribam. Additional 20 CAPF companies started landing at Imphal Airport to reinforce security in Manipur, bringing total to 218 units amid rising tensions. Husband of missing woman from Jiribam appeals for safe release of his wife, children and other captives following attack by suspected Kuki militants. Former Chief Minister Okrimi Bobby Singh demands immediate release of 6 missing IDPs, criticizes Centre for lack of full-time governor and calls for urgent action to restore peace in Manipur. And 2 trucks set ablaze by suspected Kuki militants. Rongmei Naga community condemns attack and announces boycott of Kuki supplies in Tamenglong and Noni. A very good evening. You're watching IS Primetime English News. This is Suraj Khongban Tabam giving you the news. Now the news in detail. The 24-hour statewide total shutdown called by 13 valley-based civil bodies began yesterday at 6 p.m. in protest against the escalating attacks by suspected Kuki militants on peripheral areas of Imphal West, Imphal East, Jiribam and Bisnupur districts. The shutdown was also in response to the reported abduction and disappearance of 6 individuals, including 3 women and 3 minors, following an attack in Jiribam district. This strike has severely disrupted normal life across all valley districts, including Jiribam. In solidarity with the ban, markets, shops, businesses and educational institutions remained closed, and public transport came to a near halt with passenger vehicles off the routes. Though government offices were not officially declared closed, attendance was reported to be exceptionally low, with many employees staying home due to the shutdown. In the morning, a few petrol stations were observed to be open, but long queues of vehicles waiting for fuel were also seen. While shutdown lasted for 24 hours, ended today at 6 p.m., there were no reports of any untoward incidents or violence during the ban period. This strike, called by 13 civil bodies, has severely impacted normal life in Jiribam district. Most markets, shops, educational institutions and banks remain closed in solidarity, while passenger vehicles were off their routes. Attendance at government offices was notably low. Security forces were deployed in full strength, maintaining high vigilance to prevent any untoward incidents during the strike. One of the strike supporters in Jiribam, Samasaki, spoke to the media, condemning the recent killings of innocent civilians and the alleged abduction of women and children by suspected Kuki militants. She urged both the state and central governments to intervene immediately to ensure that the safety of the women and children. Samasaki emphasized the urgency of the situation and appealed for prompt action to protect vulnerable communities in the region.
Asigi hujing matung taba khoi na total shutdown tawri base matung taba da asi bagi mi singje puthok birau hingna puthok birau aduga mi singje puthok bangam moi haiba taraga di government akhoi gi praja bukan bangam moi haiba taraga di akhoi micham praja na khoi ngakjarage akhoi iramdam de ngakjarage akhoi da khulai sinabiro simadi pamjare akhoi gi CM Biren sir na so kaim ta wahai ma CM bahabi Jiribam praja se Jiribam district se akhoi Manipur manung da chanda brasa se akhoi thamoi yam nungai te pungning cham nung si ba mieng iba mieng angang du na mama du na angang du ko laga yenga ga mami to nungai ta na khallaga du ki wakhan da akhoi da phauri bdo na mi pen na yengo CM sa na mi pen na yengo Jiribam praja akhoi yam nungai te.
The Ministry of Home Affairs has authorized the deployment of an additional 20 companies of Central Armed Police Forces (CAPF) to assist in maintaining law and order in Manipur. The additional forces began arriving at Imphal Airport this afternoon with airlift organized from Guwahati and Agartala. The new deployment, comprising 15 companies of CRPF from Assam and 5 companies of BSF from Tripura, will be stationed in Manipur until November 30th. The Manipur government has been asked to devise a detailed deployment plan in coordination with the CAPF units. Following this reinforcement, a total of 218 CAPF companies, including 115 CRPF, 84 BSF, 8 RAF, 5 ITBP and 6 SSB will be available in the state for the specified period. The ministry has also directed officials in Assam and Tripura to ensure timely deployment of these units by November 13, 2024, and has requested the Ministry of Defence to arrange for their airlift from Guwahati and Agartala, with cost to be billed to the government of Manipur. The husband of Laisram Haitombi, one of the 6 individuals missing following the recent attack by suspected Kuki militants at Jakuradhor Karong in Jiribam district, has appealed for the safe release of his wife, 2 children and the other captives. In a conversation with ISCOM News, Laisram Herozir, an IRB personnel stationed at the Porompat Police Commando, shared the distressing details. He explained that his wife had traveled to her maternal home in Jiribam with their children on September 23rd last year due to the escalating crisis. Herozir recounted that on the day of the attack, while he was on duty, he received a call from his wife reporting heavy gunfire in Jiribam and stating that they were hiding under a bed for safety. However, after losing contact with her, he reached out to a relative who informed him that his family had been taken toward the Barak River area. He has now urgently requested the government to intervene and secure the safe release of his wife, children, and others who are still missing, emphasizing the need for their release on humanitarian grounds.
September tangkun mga ma sidler man September ta kumada flight to sa kim ni ma jisil sargi masalum jilak padagi dagi adum phone da pau na raga mama matum de leiti mama nak ta leje gen ma ngang du adum leje bani aizu sibai oina yang bopi de leje bani more ta le ru matung da yang bopi dong tab de yang bopi de leje bani adu ju ai dum yang bopi da dum leiri
posting oina
posting oina aduga mana phone tawre ai ngonda nungdin pha dore hai bi timing du da mana kang na pak thara le ngang je pam maga na le mo je thok kop khai ra boi sang a pha be hai duga oi je mai to mo je tore lum de pu re hi de pu re na hai pok pi de ai ju yang pu pi de hal le hala ga pau su moi ma si hai ruk ta ma su le duga su pau phau na re aduga nongala ga ai je mai na photo nung to u de ti ai ngonda nungai ta ba ma ingonda kano oire aduna maron bu thok tri ne ngang do na sum ba de to ning de sa ji ngang nu bi tek ta kai na ko dum saga gi ma ge de amma de gi yeng bi ga tha dok bi na ba ai bam jai ngang bi ngang jing je ai ka su yam sang na hajan ngai le te ai gi nu bi ngang jing to mayam sang na kitang mating to bi kan bi ba ngon sin na bi ba ma ming he to bi ko re bi ka su ko we ma ai ga ma ro bo wa yu san na mi ma ai ji ke ai bi ke pisa thara ke ju ha ra mi ne ngon da pa to ra ma ga to mi to ra ma phone to ko di ma ka po phone to re to ma na phone to ko de gi ma ja nu mai na phone to ko phone su ngom phang gi tre ma chi gi ma sa nan mai ha rak pa de gi to re lum da barak to re ji phi ya po pu re ha bi di khang ne angang jing ga ai nu pi jing ju ga ni bo ise masa amata tik ta kai na jan thadok ber pa sini aina mayam da hajaning ba.
Former Chief Minister Okrimi Bobby Singh has urged for the immediate release of 6 Meitei IDPs, 3 women and 3 minors, including a 9-month-old infant, who went missing following an alleged attack by suspected Kuki militants in Jiribam. Speaking to the media at his official residence in Babupara, Imphal, Ibobi, who is also the CLP leader, emphasized the need to release the captives on humanitarian grounds, cautioning that a failure to do so could lead to severe consequences in Manipur. Ibobi acknowledged the efforts by security forces working to rescue the missing individuals, recognizing their commitment to the situation. He, however, questioned the reason of having a government when it cannot protect the lives and properties of the public. He was joined by 4 opposition MLAs and leaders from the Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee MPCC who expressed discontent over the centre's decision to assign Manipur's governorship as an additional charge to the governor of Assam. Ibobi conveyed that with the acting governor currently out of state, the opposition party has been unable to discuss the prevailing issues with a state representative. He remarked that the absence of a full-time governor at such a critical time reflects a neglect of Manipur's needs by the centre. Urging the centre to take immediate action, Ibobi suggested that implementing the law and mediating a dialogue between the conflicting communities is the only path to restoring peace. He stressed the importance of prioritizing peace in the state while affirming that the Congress party will not compromise on issues that threaten the integrity of Manipur.
Sahi ani parka daraba tha trai ban hela basibu mi lising humpu hen basibu sanga yok padona yenda yengon yok pa sanga yok padona relief game da thammi basi masibu aidi India gi history da thodo wa thok tho aning da ba kaya su thokre ba karam ba state ta sigum basi thokhi ba yawro ba ge ba adagi leiriba state sigi chief minister sinasu it is his responsibility sigum ba crucial oi ba matam sidari magi Ada chatpagi moida haijabagi darka oide chief minister office tagi sigi Manipur ki crisis issue se masi solve taunana bagi all political party opposition gi mayam ga loinana appointment ukta pbu na sidagi adum akhoi gi government gi matamda any issue chief minister office ti chatpa darka oide ba aduna amaworo chumbalan bana tongan ba mani aduna madudi mioi bagi minung siga loinana Hado pirakwana faidagi asumba decision waigani haibasini akoi party ki side tagi appeal tawjaning se.
In a press conference held today at the Youth's Front of Assam MYFS Study Center in Pailapul, the president of the Manipuri MYFA, Thangzam Brazen, appealed to both the state and central governments for immediate intervention in securing the safe release of 6 individuals, comprising 3 women and 3 minors, who were allegedly abducted by suspected Kuki militants following an attack in Jiribam district on November 11. Brazen expressed strong concern over the escalating violence targeting the Meitei community, noting that the recent abduction incident is part of a series of assaults by suspected Kuki militants that have persisted since May 3rd of the previous year. He criticized the failure of both state and central authorities to put an end to these attacks, calling it an insult to the Meitei community. The MYFA president urged the Meitei people to unite in the face of such violence, asserting that it was crucial for the community to stand together as one in these challenging times. He also directly appealed to the Kuki militants, demanding the safe release of the abducted individuals. Brazen further warned that the Kuki community would be held fully responsible for the well-being of the victims, urging for their immediate and unharmed return. This morning, unknown assailants set fire of 2 trucks carrying essential supplies en route to Longmai, Noni, and Tamenglong districts. The attack, which took place between Langnom and All Kaifundai villages in Tamenglong district has been condemned by the Rongmei Naga community, who alleged that armed Kuki militants were responsible. In response, the Rongmei Naga community has announced an immediate boycott of the Kuki community in both Tamenglong and Nonne districts. The incident occurred early today morning when 8 trucks carrying essential commodities like rice, onions and potatoes were stopped by armed miscreants. While 2 trucks were set ablaze, the remaining 6 trucks managed to escape. The police have not yet identified the perpetrators. The Rongmei Naga Students Organization Manipur RNSOM released a statement claiming the trucks with registration numbers MN05C 3992 and AS11 3577 were fired upon with automatic rifle before being towed. This follows a similar attack on vehicles along National Highway 37 near Kaimai. RNSOM accused the Kuki militants of attempting to undermine the Rongmei people's presence in their own territory and warned that the attack was part of a larger pattern of violence. The group declared a total boycott of Kuki supplies in Tamenglong and Nonne, citing the ongoing disruption caused by the Kuki community's action. A fresh attack was launched today by suspected Kuki militants in the peripheral areas of Manipur's Valley districts, marking the 5th consecutive day of violence. At approximately 3 p.m., several rounds were reportedly fired at farmers working in their fields in Ningthaukhong Khalkuno Maning, located near Charoi, Kulen and Jingfei. The militants, believed to be using sophisticated weapons, targeted the farmers as they were tending to their crops. Upon hearing the gunfire, the farmers quickly fled the fields to seek safety. Notably, the location of the attack is in close proximity to areas where Central Security Forces, including the Sikh Regiment, have been deployed. In response to the assault, state forces, including police commandos and the IRB, retaliated, leading to an exchange of fire that lasted for nearly 30 minutes. Fortunately, there were no reports of casualties or injuries during the confrontation. Another fresh attack was launched this afternoon at around 4 p.m. by suspected Kuki militants in Mongbung Meitekhul, reportedly originating from the Yarulpokpi site. The militants opened fire on the village, prompting a swift response from the local village volunteers. The exchange of gunfire between the attackers and the village defense groups lasted for approximately 1 hour, with brief pauses in between. The attack eventually ceased, but the villagers have expressed growing frustration over the lack of immediate action from security forces in the area. Many question the delayed response and the effectiveness of the security measures in place, highlighting the vulnerability of the region to ongoing militant assaults. Inmates residing at the relief camp set up at Borobekra police station in Jirbam district, also known as Barak Circle under the Borobekra subdivision, have issued an ultimatum to authorities demanding to be relocated to a safer location within 48 hours. The camp, which has been a refuge for people displaced by ongoing violence, has become the target of repeated attacks by suspected Kuki militants. These attacks have resulted in casualties and individuals going missing, prompting the inmates to voice their concerns about their safety. The displaced individuals have expressed their fear and frustration, urging the intervention of the Chief Minister for their immediate rescue. One of the inmates, Oinam Ongbi Ibemal, shared that they had initially taken refuge at the camp in order to protect Manipur, but now feared for their lives. She appealed to authorities, stating that they did not want to stay in the camp if it meant risking death, urging for their relocation to a more secure place. Another inmate, Yurembam Ningol Sandhyani Devi, shared her distress over the situation, revealing that she was caring for her sister's 2 children who were among those who had gone missing in the attacks. She made a heartfelt plea for the release of the 6 missing individuals on humanitarian grounds. Amid their protests, the inmates also raised their voices in slogans calling for urgent action to address their plight. The Manipur Commission for Protection of Child Rights (MCPCR) has issued an urgent appeal to all stakeholders involved in the ongoing conflict in Manipur, urging them to respect the safety and fundamental rights of children and women. This appeal follows a disturbing incident on November 11, when 6 civilians, including 3 minors and 3 women, were reportedly abducted from Jakura Dhor Karong in Jiribam district. In a public appeal issued by the chairperson of MCPCR, Kaisam Pradeep Kumar, it stated that, according to police complaints, the abductees were allegedly taken by Kuki militants who launched an armed attack on CRPF personnel station in the area. The militants also reportedly set fire to 13 shops and houses belonging to Meitei community members, resulting in the deaths of 2 elderly people. The incident has intensified fear and despair among the public as violence continues to impact innocent civilians. The MCPCR condemned the violence targeting children, women, and the elderly, calling it a grave violation of international humanitarian laws, including the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. It concluded by urging all responsible parties to release the abducted civilians immediately and called on relevant authorities to ensure swift and safe rescue. In response to the increasing violence and ongoing unrest in Manipur, which has been prolonged over 16 months, the RPI Athawale Manipur state has raised concerns over the threat posed by what they call as Kuki narco-terrorists and called for immediate action by the central government. The president of the party's state unit, Bisorjit Konthausam, in a release, emphasized the urgency of protecting the lives and livelihoods of the local population who continue to live in fear amid the ongoing violence across hills and valleys. The RPI Athawale has criticized both the central and state governments for failing to take substantial action against these groups who continue to operate and exploit vulnerable areas for their own interest. Stating that the people are at risk, it said that the government must not stand idle. Further stating that the time for political advantage is over, the release maintained that those in power must prioritize the safety and security of the citizens, leaving political ambitions aside. Recalling the recent killing of 1 woman and alleged abduction of 6 individuals comprising of women and minors by suspected Kuki militants, it stated that such incidents have created panic and raised pressing questions about the government's action plan in curbing narco-terrorism and ensuring peace. The RPI Athawale Manipur state announced that it would continue pressing the government and taking necessary measures to safeguard the affected communities. The party urged the center to act swiftly and with force against Kuki narco-terrorists whose activities remain a grave threat to the peace and stability of Manipur. The Executive Advisory Technical Committees and District Associations of the Manipur Table Tennis Association (MTTA) expressed deep sorrow at the sudden demise of Bachaspatimayum Sachi Chandra Sharma, the former Vice President, on November 9th. At a gathering at the indoor stadium, DM College campus, Imphal, members observed 2 minutes of silence in his memory. They remembered his dedicated service to the sport and his significant contributions to the growth of table tennis in the state. The MTTA extended condolences to his family, praying for his soul to rest in peace. The United Naga Council UNC requested a rescheduling of the upcoming tripartite talks on the Manipur new district creation issue originally set for November 13, 2024. UNC General Secretary Varayo Satsang wrote to advisor Notice Ministry of Home Affairs A.K. Mishra requesting the talks be moved to the 4th week of November due to prior commitments of some UNC members. In response, A.K. Mishra confirmed that the next round of talks would be rescheduled to November 29th in Senapati. The tripartite talks, which involve the central government, the UNC and the government of Manipur, resume on October 11 after a long break. The issue stems from the creation of 7 new districts by the previous Manipur government in 2016, which led to an economic blockade by the UNC. The body of a non-local man was discovered this morning at around 7 a.m. on the bank of the Izay River, also known as Aga River, near Longmai Bazaar in None district. The deceased has been identified as 46-year-old Ranjit Shah, son of Ram Murthy Shah from Ismailpur, Vaisali, Bihar. Shah, who worked as a laborer, was found dead under unclear circumstances. According to police sources, it is suspected that Shah may have drowned in the river after drinking. The None police station collected the body and it has been sent for post-mortem examination. An unnatural death case has been registered and investigations are ongoing to determine the exact cause of death. The Regional Institute of Medical Sciences, RIMS, in Imphal today inaugurated a cryoablation machine, becoming the first government hospital in India to install such equipment. This advanced machine, which enables minimally invasive pain management, was introduced by RIMS Director Professor G. Sunil Kumar Sharma. In another development, RIMS hosted a two-day regional training event on HIV Sentinel Surveillance Plus 2025, focused on antenatal and prison settings. Organized in collaboration with the National AIDS Control Society organization, NACO, and training aimed to strengthen HIV surveillance and prevention strategies. Healthcare experts from the notice participated, reflecting the Institute's ongoing commitment to public health advancements. The indefinite ban along the Imphal-Ukhrul road, which had been imposed by the Lamlai Kendra Village Volunteer Force since yesterday, was lifted today. The decision to suspend the ban was met in consideration of the hardships faced by the people of Manipur due to the ongoing situation in the state. During a press conference held at Secta in Imphal East, the Commander-in-Chief of the Lamlai Kendra Village Volunteer Force, Y. Boson, explained that the ban had been called in response to the authorities' inaction regarding their demands for the deployment of state forces at Uyokching Range, a location where suspected Kuki militants launched repeated attack at Meitei villages. Boson emphasized that despite the initial intent to contain the ban, the force decided to temporarily suspend it out of concern for the suffering of the public. He appealed to the concerned authorities to promptly deploy the requested state security forces at the vulnerable site in order to ensure the safety of the public.
Imphal Ukhrul lambi si ban tawjabani maram maduna aikoi bal hantonabagi aikoi LKBBF ki yamna kupna khanajaba matungda laibak asigi oiba thabak mayam ama laiba maradi hauji economic blockade ki karigi maram oiduna poche mayam am tangkhalakpa amadi lau singubagi aikoi chathok chasin gi damakta aikoi masi yengjaraga lamlai kendra village voluntary force na aikoi ballasi Kudaktagi Matam Kharagi when Hantokchare, Maram Maduna, Hausi Ladiba, Manipuri Sarkana, Equina Tanzariba, demanding Asisu, demanding Adude, Equi Yang Popi, Uyoxing, Tama Popi Manning, Uyoxing da, Equi Hana, Haina Kraba, Hana, Hanjal Hanjanawaris, Hana Kraba, Sarkargi, Impan Iski SP, Lamaki and Regi Emily, Hanjal Hanjanawaris, and Wapam, Manning Sing Asigi Matakta, Equi is their post Tambasing Adu. Aikoi na bal hantok charingai manung sidasu thabak oina pangthok na beidamakta lamlai kendra village voluntary force na atuki mati sarkar gi puning chinjanjaraga aikoi thabak oina pangthok na beidamakta ju khamanjari.
Center and Youth Collective Manipur have issued an urgent appeal to the United Nations Special Reporter on Extrajudicial Summary or Arbitrary Executions, seeking immediate intervention to prevent the execution of 6 civilians, 3 women and 3 children abducted by suspected Kuki militants. The abductions occurred on November 11th following an attack in Jiribam, Manipur, and have left the victims, including an 8-month-old infant, missing. The organizations have called on the UN to urge the government of India to investigate the incident and ensure the safe release of the civilians. They also appeal for international action to hold the perpetrators accountable under international law and to provide humanitarian support to the affected communities. The abduction of these civilians, particularly vulnerable women and children, is seen as a grave violation of human rights and humanitarian law. A candlelight vigil was held this evening to demand the safe release of 6 individuals, including 3 women and 3 minors, who went missing following an attack by suspected Kuki militants in Jiribam district on November 11th. The vigil was organized by the Uripok Apunbel Loop and Uripok Apunbenupi Loop at Uripok Canteen Corner, with participants gathering to express solidarity and raise awareness about the ongoing crisis. The event, which took place at a prominent location in Imphal, saw scores of people holding candles in a solemn show of support for the abducted victims and their families. Participants chanted slogans calling for the immediate release of the missing individuals and an end to the violence perpetrated by militants in the region. Before we wind up, let's have a quick look at the top news headlines once again. 24-hour shutdown in protest against escalating Kuki militant attacks, abduction of 6, and ongoing violence crippled Manipur, disrupting daily life across valley districts, including Jiribam. Additional 20 CAPF companies started landing at Imphal Airport to reinforce security in Manipur, bringing total to 218 units amid rising tension. Husband of missing woman from Jiribam appeals for safe release of his wife, children, and other captives following attack by suspected Kuki militants. Former Chief Minister of Krimi Bobby Singh demands immediate release of 6 missing IDPs, criticizes Center for lack of full-time governor, and calls for urgent action to restore peace in Manipur. And 2 trucks set ablaze by suspected Kuki militants. Rongmei Naga community condemns attack and announces boycott of Kuki supplies in Tamenglong and Noni. Well, that's all for now. Keep watching ICE News and good night.